What's up, y'all? So, all right. Yesterday, I experienced a lot of things, right? That had to do with children. So I'm hanging out with one of my friends yesterday, and there was this girl at his house, and I'm like, "Who's this?" He's like, "I don't know. She just comes by to grab weed sometimes." I'm like, "All right." And she had like a big ass coat on, so I couldn't really not coat jacket, and I couldn't really see her like that. But she finally starts like rubbing her stomach, and I see that she's pregnant. But then I realized this bitch has been sitting here smoking Newports all day. Like that shit just was very shocking to me. Like, wow, you really don't give a fuck about this baby. Like you're in here smoking mad cigarettes and you're like 9, she's like 8 or 9 months pregnant. Her stomach is big as fuck. That shit just fucked me up. But the real reason I wanted to make this video was this same person that I was with has some children. And yesterday while I was there, they were, being kids. They were running around and they did something wrong, clearly. And I heard him beat them. You know what I mean? And like they were upstairs and I was downstairs, and just hearing that shit, man, I couldn't even stay there. I had to leave. Like I couldn't even stay. Because sometimes that shit just brought me back to my childhood and getting beat like that, because sometimes me personally, I don't believe any child deserves to be struck by their parent. But if you're the type of parent that feels that that's okay, you shouldn't just beat your kids for fucking anything. It should be something serious. And I know that sometimes when my dad would beat me, he would lose himself in his anger and really start beating me, really start fucking me up, like as if I was like his enemy or something. And I could hear that yesterday. I could hear my boy when he was yelling at the kids, losing himself in his anger, like losing himself, talking to like 3 and 4-year-olds, telling them to shut the fuck up and calling his son a pussy and all type of shit, and I could hear the hits from the belt, becoming more powerful. He's hitting them harder, you know what I mean? And that shit was hurting my fucking soul, like, because I remember my dad would go and get a fucking belt and then sit at the table across from me and ask me questions. And if I didn't answer him right, he would pop me in the mouth with his hand, with his fucking wedding ring on and shit like that. And once he got to a certain level of anger, he would just tell me to go in the room, and then he would beat the shit out of me with the fucking belt. And people, especially black people, we're so desensitized to being fucking abused by our parents that we think it's normal. We laugh about it and shit. And it's not normal. It's not funny. It's not normal. It's not right. It's not okay. Like, that shit comes from slavery. That shit comes from slave masters. Like, and that's why I'm not religious, because to me, a person that says, do what I say or you go to the hellfire forever, sounds like a slave master. Do what I say or I'm gonna beat your ass with a fucking belt, sounds like a slave master. Do what I say or I'm gonna whip your fucking back is a slave master. So all three of them, God, Christian God, religion, what was the other one? Parents and slave masters all sound like the same thing to me when you're a black person, So I can't fuck with that. But I don't know. I just don't think it's okay to do that to your children. Like, I still have so many fucking mental and spiritual scars from that shit. I still have animosity towards my father for that shit. There was a point where I was going to kill my dad, kill him for all of the shit that he was doing to me, and and I don't even really know where to go from here, but just That pain never fucking goes away. That pain of having the world already out here constantly trying to hurt you, and then you got to go home to a motherfucker that's gonna hurt you too if you don't do exactly what they tell you. You know, it's fucked up, man. And after after having lived like that, after being an abused child, as my friend was, you would think that you wouldn't turn around and do that to your own children, but it's a cycle. And that's one of the reasons I'm super afraid to have children. You know, like, I made a video about why I don't date women with children, and in the video I spoke of some reasons like why I don't have children. But this is another one. Like, I'm very afraid of losing myself in my anger with my children. I'm very afraid of harming my children. I'm very afraid of becoming an abusive father because I was abused. You know, I know that it's a cycle. I know that shit is inside of me. I've seen myself lose myself in my anger. I've seen myself get violent. I never want to do that to a child. And hearing that shit yesterday, that shit really hurt my soul, man. Don't beat your kids, man.